Hello, friends. Welcome back to the vlog. I hope the day's treating you well. We are starting off another Vlogmas. We're doing a little bit differently this year. I'll get into that a little bit later, but we're just going to do a couple of days in my life today. I got this tray this summer, and I was really wanting to channel like a little coffee moment, like a fika moment, And so I got these trays, and then Obi and I got this canister to hold our coffee in the morning because we're coffee nerds. Like that is like one of our main shared passions is coffee and good coffee. So we bought this canister that keeps our coffee warm all morning. And honestly, typically we're drinking coffee from like 5 in the morning until around 9 a.m. So that's like a long time for it to be kind of roasting on the coffee machine. So we were like, you know what? It's $20 for us to just get one of these things that we would have at a coffee shop to keep our coffee warm. And we did it and have no regrets. It keeps our coffee hot and it keeps it tasting good for hours. So thrilled about that. This morning I sat down, had coffee. I've already made breakfast and I just do a little quick cleanup before I get into the day. I'm one of those people who cannot work from home unless the house is clean. So I just needed to clean that up. And I keep any leftover coffee. I just ice it for the next day and I'll use it for afternoon coffee. So that's what that is. It's over there cooling. I don't put it in the fridge until it hits room temp. And then I have some dried thyme that I pulled this fall. It's been sitting in the window for a few weeks, maybe a month or so. And it's finally dry enough for me to claim it as an herb and put it in with the other dried thyme. Here's the weird thing. I'm sure there's like a ton of different varieties of thyme, but it looks real different than the dried thyme that I had in that canister, but it smells the same. But it feels like they're not even the same thing at all, like very different shape. But I, put it away and then we're just kind of getting the house ready for the day, opening up windows, bringing in some fresh air. While I'm doing this, I feel like we should talk a little bit about Vlogmas. So every year I have a conflict with Vlogmas. I want to do it every single year because one, it's just fun. You guys are like my favorite audience on the internet because I feel like my podcast audience is my other favorite audience, but I can't connect with them as much, right? Because we don't have a comment section on podcasts. So this is, I think, my favorite audience because we can actually like connect. You guys are like nice. Like, I don't know. It's just like a nice place to be. So every year I want to do Vlogmas because it's like connective and it's fun. I also love the tradition of Vlogmas. I think that's really fun. I like having these videos to look back on for myself. So in a way, I'm always really excited to do it. But in another way, I work a lot and I create a lot for my work. And so sometimes I'm a little bit depleted, if I'm honest. A lot of times I'm depleted. And so adding on to that daily vlogging is a little tricky. But I decided last year I did 12 days of Vlogmas and that felt really good. This year we're going to kind of do that, but we're going to spread it out. So I'm going to vlog a day and then edit a day, vlog a day, edit a day. That way I'm not vlogging and editing all in the same day. And I'm probably going to do them voiceover style like this just because I think that's the style that I'm personally drawn to right now and the style that I'm enjoying creating. So that's the plan. So I think it'll still be about 12 days of Vlogmas, 12 days of Vlogmas. Today's day 1, and then day after tomorrow we'll have day 2. So that is what to expect. I do want to do a lot of day in the life vlogs, but I also have some topics I want to cover. So the next one is going to be a plan with me. And then I think coming up, we're going to talk about no spend year that we have coming up and kind of how we're thinking about it, what we're planning for it, and how we're managing it. So all of that is at play. This was a work from home day. And so I was just kind of getting some work done, recording some podcasts, and then it was time to make some lunch. This was such a fun lunch for me because I just learned how to make French bread, and it turned out really well. I wanted a loaf that I could use for like hoagie sandwiches that was soft, because a lot of times when I'm baking my own bread, I have like a crust that's like a hard crust. And so I wanted to figure out how to make one that had a soft crust, and so it turning out felt really cool. And so I'm making kind of my favorite sandwich with that. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's just kind of like making a little sub salad to go on top of your sandwich. So I put ham and cheese, and it's toasting in the air fryer. And then I'm just making a little salad with mayonnaise and red wine vinegar and oregano and salt and pepper as the dressing, and then adding in banana peppers, and like that's about it. And then just putting that on the sub, and it is my favorite lunch right now. I've been having it almost every day this week with like some grapes and some chips. Yeah, so in case you were wondering, it's nice. I go through seasons with foods, where you like get really into it and then I never want to ever eat it again. And I do that with a sandwich all the time, where I'll hyperfixate on it for a while and then I'll never ever want to eat it again. And then eventually I'll start craving it again. And we're kind of back to the craving side of things here. One of the things that I've been working on thinking about the no spend year is our grocery budget. And with that in mind, I've been thinking about wanting to make more and more things from scratch, because it's just so much cheaper to make things than to buy a bunch of separate things, especially when it comes to breads, because our kiddo is a bread lover. Like, they just love to eat bread. And so a lot of times I'll have like 2 or 3 kinds of bread at the house for them specifically. And if they don't eat all of it, it's like we'll figure out stuff to do with it, but we don't really like the same kind of bread as our kid likes, right? Like, our kid likes plain bagels. They like white bread. We get that like Sara Lee bread, but they like not as flavorful things as we like. And so if I can make them myself, not only can I save money, but also I can make like different versions. I can make the one that's for the kiddo and the one that's for us, which appeals to me personally. So yeah, I've been thinking about that. So I've been trying to learn some things. I have made some form of a bagel twice. Didn't like either of those recipes, but I'm not going to give up, because I'm going to figure out a perfect bagel recipe. I have made French bread. I've made dinner rolls. I've made like artisan bread before, like the no knead kind. Obi, my husband, he has done sourdough. He did that for a while. And so we got the stuff to do a sourdough starter, which I think we're going to do this winter as well, and kind of get into that, which maybe is where the bagels are really going to shine. You know what I mean? But all of that to say, I am working on that. The other thing that really helps us with our grocery budget is Every Plate. That's what you're seeing me put away here. It's just a meal kit delivery service, but I like it because it's very inexpensive. Like, the weeks that we do Every Plate are actually the lowest grocery weeks that we have. I will say sometimes the portions are small, so if you like pair it with a salad or something, that can be helpful. But yeah, it's really affordable. I think ours is usually like $60 a week for 4 dinners. So I feel like that's super reasonable. And I love it. It's nice after like a long day to come home and just like not have to think about what we're having for dinner, but to just follow directions, and for it to be, you're making it from scratch. It's just, you didn't have to do the work. You didn't have to do the work of planning or thinking about it. That was Obi packing up the kiddos' lunch, and we're moving into the next day. This is the day that we are decorating for Christmas. So I wanted to kind of I'd already kind of cleared off some things from like days before, but I had this like final set of things that I needed to clear out. I was really sad to do this shelf, if I'm honest, because it just brought me so much joy. I did it in the spring with like our spring theme. We were like doing herbs and flowers and stuff. And I had dried flowers hanging everywhere, and it was just really made me happy to look at that shelf. And but it was time to bring it down because we're going to put all of our Christmas stuff on it and kind of give it a new vibe. And the flowers just couldn't stay. And that is what it is. But I was a little bummed to take them down. But the day I was just kind of spending, I had work, but I was also integrating doing these household tasks as well. So cleaning up things, we're doing a little bit of work, cleaning up some stuff, doing a little bit of work. I kind of like that. My job is mostly at the computer. So if on my breaks, I can kind of do some physical tasks. I find that to be really nice, like a nice little balance. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I was doing. If you guys have ever done the Pomodoro technique, that's kind of how I think about it. It's like I'll do 25 minutes of work and then do like a quick 5 or 10 minute long task and then do 25 minutes of work. Typically, those work sessions don't end at 25 minutes. For me, I have a really hard time stopping at 25 minutes exactly. But, you get the gist. Like, that's the intention for sure. I thought all of these little flowers in that basket were so pretty. I had to go put them in the compost, and I was kind of sad about it. But we're moving on to afternoon coffee. And I was just going to make a cappuccino today and enjoy a little coffee moment. We are drinking a lot more drip coffee these days than we used to. I used to be really, I don't know, we had a coffee pot for a while and then we got rid of it because we never really used it. And then it was sometime earlier this year, maybe my birthday. I don't know. Around sometime in the winter, I was like, I really feel like I could use a coffee pot. And we have not turned back. Like we're fans. We like set the little timer to go off before we wake up. And we have a little routine kind of we do around it. Like the coffee starts when my alarm goes off. And then it finishes when my snooze goes off. Like when I hit snooze, it's like 9 minutes, which is exactly the amount of time that it takes for the coffee pot to finish. And so we're kind of like, I don't know, it times well. We get like an extra 9 minutes to like snuggle before we have to get up and like face the day. And so I'm just having coffee, getting back to work, and then getting back to cleaning after that little work sesh was over. These are 2 bins that I got recently. One, the one on top is for spring summer decor. It's just mostly vases or glassware, but mostly vases and like diffusers, because that's kind of the scent we use in the summer is like diffusers and incense. And then in the fall and the winter, we use candles and mostly. So that is what I'm putting in that little smaller bin. And then the bigger bin on the bottom is for the fall. And that has a bunch of very specific autumnal decor, like pumpkin mugs and our little like black cappuccino cups that feel super fall and Halloween-y. I'm glad to have these bins because it used to kind of feel like we were putting everything back in the Christmas bins, and then when the Christmas bins would come back, we would put things kind of into this like really, really small bin that we were trying to fit into this closet that didn't quite work. So I'm happy to have a different system because what we were doing before wasn't working. And friends, y'all, I have not unpacked from Chicago yet. I planned to do it the day after we got back. But honestly, like I was so tired that day because we'd traveled the day before. We got home like at bedtime the night before. We'd been way off our sleep schedule the entire week. And I was just really tired. And before that, I had been sick. So it was just like a mess. So I was like, I'm going to do the bare minimum on Sunday. But then work happened on Monday. And so I didn't get to it until Tuesday. which is like fine. You know, I could have gone longer if I'm honest, but it's nice to kind of get it finally tidied up and put away. We packed this is my new little carry-on. So I have the away luggage, but my away bag, the handle quit going down, and I need to send it in to get fixed because it's like a lifetime warranty. They'll fix it for you, but it would be gone for like 3 months to get fixed, it said, and I have not been home for 3 months in a row all year. So I was like, I don't know if I can do that. So I bought this like Amazon suitcase for like $100 or something, and I actually really love it. I think I love it so much that I'm not particularly eager to get back to my away bag, if I'm honest. It came with those little pouches, and then it has like this layer. It has 2 layers in that zipper, and one of them can hold my computer in it, which is so nice because typically I have to bring my computer, and I like to bring my iPad because I use my iPad on the plane, but my computer is where I work from, right? So typically I'm having to put both of those into my carry-on, like my personal item, and it becomes really heavy, really cumbersome. So being able to just put it in the front flap of my suitcase is great. And then we packed this like giant suitcase together, Opie and I, because we wanted to have extra space because we knew we were going to be doing some damage because our friends own a stationery store in Chicago, and we were like, we're going to probably want to buy some stuff. And so we did, and we're both like stationery nerds. We both love, you know, art and creating and writing, and he writes a lot of letters and likes to make them really beautiful, and I'm trying to be that way. And so he's really into like pens and high bullet journal. So we knew we were going to be like wanting to buy stuff, so we created some space, and we ended up having plenty of room, honestly. Each of us having a carry-on and then packing one checked bag, I think is actually a pretty solid plan. What you see me doing here is unpacking our pajamas. So every year we buy like matching pajamas and new slippers to decorate the house in. Now, here's the thing. This is the kind of thing that we do that I feel like is the reason we're doing a no spend year, because so many of like my traditions that I was like, I want to do this, are like very consumer oriented, and it's really hard to think about like, how do we unwind some of that with the kiddo, because we've like developed these traditions with the kid. So how do we kind of make these decisions differently in the future? I don't have an answer for that necessarily yet, but it is something I'm wrestling with. You know, it's just kind of like, I love this little tradition, but at the same time, it's like not the coolest. It's like, you know, the pajamas are fine. They're not something that like we need necessarily. Do we need a new pair of pajamas every year? I mean, I guess kind of. I don't, but the kid might because they're growing, you know, but I don't know. It just feels like taking it away. It feels like we're it's like we're losing something. But at the same time, I don't know. I just want to shift the way that we're approaching joy and not doing it from a place of like, what can we buy to feel good? And more so from a place of like, how can we appreciate what we already have? And if you've ever had to navigate that with your kids, I would love to hear how you did that and what that looked like for you, or how they, you know, managed it. Because I don't want to take away from like these exciting traditions, but at the same time, like maybe they're not like the ones to keep. So that's what I'm thinking about. I do love this little tree. It's nice to have a tree already and not have to like go find one. And it's perfect size for our little apartment right now. I know one day we'll probably get a bigger one, but yeah, so we're just kind of like replacing all the decor, and it's really fun. Like our kiddo had music playing, they're like dancing around. We like got to just make the house feel really magical together. It's one of my favorite things that we do as a fam. So I have a question for you. So I feel like there are two kinds of people, and maybe that's not true, but it feels like there are two kinds of people. People who love a comfort show, a comfort movie. They love to like watch the same thing over and over again. And then there are people who are like, no, I do not want to watch the same thing twice. Like, I do not repeat. And I, as I'm saying this, I think I'm not one of those two necessarily. Like, I feel like I lean toward the side of not wanting to repeat things. Like, I pretty much never want to watch a show over and over again. But there are certain things, right? Like, there's Christmas movies that I want to watch every year. Like, I want to watch Love Actually. I want to watch The Holiday. I love watching Pride and Prejudice at least once a year. I mean, those might be the only three, if I'm honest. But I think generally I'm a no repeat. But tell me in the comments below, which one are you? Are you a repeater or a not a repeater? Our kiddo is very much a repeater. Like, they would love to watch the same movie over and over and over again. And maybe that's like a kid thing in general, but we are not like that. Neither Obi or I. We pretty much prefer to just keep it to one go. So tell me what you are. We are decorating the credenza. I hated this at first. It has grown on me. Meaning, like, when I first decorated it this particular day, I was like, I don't like this. But I looked at it this morning and I was like, no, it's grown on me. I do like it. It felt like forced at first, but now when I'm like watching the video back, I'm like, no, it's sweet. It's magical. There is something so special about holiday light and it being darker outside, having candles around, having sparkly lights around. It feels just so magical to me. And for the winter this past year, we kept those little sparkly lights up everywhere and candles out everywhere, and I did not regret it. This shot is here to remind me to tell you about the way that we do holiday ornaments. So we have mostly kind of generic Target ornaments, but then we have lots of little special ones. And those little special ones we get when we take a family trip. So if Obi and I go on a trip together, we'll get one. If all three of us go on a trip together, we'll get one. And it just helps us to kind of like remember that experience. And it's been really cool because it helps our tree to feel meaningful and purposeful. Like, every ornament on it that's not like a generic one is a memory, and that feels really sweet.
You're gonna be like, what kind of energy are we gonna have?
We're gonna have the most sassy, funny, energetic, having a great time, kind, and energy.
I love it.
I love this for us.
Anointed.
With some crying sadness, drama, and everything.
Oh, I'm sure.
Maybe a little bit of madness.
Wouldn't be a year without it.
Madness, like being mad and chaos.
I have to put that as deep
In a good and not good
way.
In a good way and not a good way.
It's part of
Messing around.
part of being human.
Yeah, I'm gonna put another little.
I am obsessed with that kid. So now I am kind of setting up the little coffee bar, just kind of making some swaps. We have some coffee mugs that are Christmas themed. And then that little set to the right is like our cappuccino mugs that are fall and winter. And then we have this little hot cocoa thing that I got last year. And last year I used it to hold like hot cocoa packets. But this year I just bought like a big tub of hot cocoa kind of for the season. So we don't really need it, but I put our coffee filters in it and I think it's cute. And then just kind of rearranged things on the cart until it felt a little festive, nothing too crazy, but switching from, fall to Christmas vibes as much as we can. with what we have, you know. And then we decided to do a little hot cocoa night to commiserate, or to commemorate, to celebrate, I don't know, to make us feel special. The first one that I did, I stirred with a spoon, which was a mistake. We have like one of those little handheld whisks, and that works much better. And then we have peppermint whipped cream, which was thrilling, and some sprinkles. So we ended the night with a little hot cocoa cheers, and that's, you know, that's our 2 days in my life. But thank you guys so much for joining me. And I'll see you day after tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 2. Bye.